This is just a horrific tragedy that just unfolded in the Buckeye State last month. According to officials, an 81-year-old Ohio man has been charged in the fatal shooting of an Uber driver that he believed was working with a phone scammer. William Brock told investigators that he shot 61-year-old Lolitha Hall outside of his home on March 25th because he thought she was working with a man who called him pretending to be an officer at the local court. Lieutenant Christopher Schultz of the Clark County Sheriff's Office said Mr. Brock received some scam call by a person purporting to be someone from our courts who informed him a family member was incarcerated and that he had a bond of a significant amount of money. Schultz said the calls turned from, "I'm an officer in the court," to, "We have this person hostage. This is a ransom demand." According to the report, the person who called Brock, or an accomplice, requested an Uber ride to his South Charleston home to pick up the money. The Uber driver, Miss Lolitha Hall, had no clue what was going on. When Hall arrived at the home and approached the front door, Brock confronted her with a gun and asked her who she was working for. He took her cell phone and prevented her from getting into her vehicle and driving away. According to the police report, quote, "When she tried to get away, he shot her once, then there was more exchange between them. Mr. Brock at some point sustained an injury to his head and he shot Miss Hall a second time. There was more conversation and then he shot her a third time. Only after he shot her the third time did he make contact with authorities to report the incident." Brock told police that he shot Hall while she was going to her car because he feared that she was getting a gun. Miss Hall apparently didn't threaten Brock, didn't have a weapon, and didn't assault him, according to the sheriff's office and a complaint filed in Clark County Municipal Court. She was taken to the hospital where she later died from her injuries. In a public statement, Uber said the company had spoken with Hall's family, and an Uber spokesman said, quote, "This is a horrific tragedy and our hearts continue to be with Lolitha's loved ones as they grieve. We have been in contact with law enforcement and remain committed to supporting their investigation." The Uber spokesperson also said the account of the person who ordered a car to Brock's house has been banned. Officials have not identified the person who requested the Uber and have not said whether they've made any additional arrests in connection with the case. Now, it's just amazing to me that cops will swarm on a man or woman in a public place with a camera and deploy a vast amount of manpower and resources for a person exercising a constitutionally protected right, but somehow they got a problem tracing a call to a person who arranged for this horrific tragedy to unfold. William Brock was later arrested and charged with murder, felonious assault, and kidnapping after police determined that Hall did not pose a threat to him and that Brock failed to contact police for assistance during the pickup. See, Brock could have just not answered the door, and if he was scared, he could have called the police. But then that's a catch-22 situation because, as we've seen so many times in the past, when people call cops for help, they end up showing up and hurting or eliminating the very people who requested their services in the first place. It puts a real exclamation point on "we're from the government and we're here to help." Brock posted a $200,000 bond on Wednesday and may face additional charges as police investigate the incident. In the wake of this incident, some people, as expected, are calling for guns to be taken away from all the elderly, while others are suggesting that this is some kind of social engineering experiment. Now, from the psychological perspective, the father of propaganda or public relations, Edward Bernays, who's the nephew of Sigmund Freud, said, "Men are rarely aware of the real reasons which motivate their actions." Social engineering is a form of cybercrime that involves the use of psychological manipulation to exploit human behavior and gain access to confidential information systems. It relies on techniques like persuasion, influence, and observation to deceive individuals into divulging sensitive information, clicking on malicious links, or performing actions that could compromise security. Social engineering attacks are often successful because they exploit human vulnerabilities and characteristics like trust, curiosity, and even a desire to help people. And sometimes they do this rather than exploiting technical flaws in systems. And these attacks can take various forms, including swatting, phishing, pretexting, baiting, and more. And they occur in both digital and physical environments. I wonder how much, if any, social engineering played a part in this scenario. Either way, it's interesting to take into consideration what Bernays wrote in his book entitled Propaganda. He said, "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed. Our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we've never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. In almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by a relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind." So what do you think? Is this a type of social engineering? Do you think taking guns from the elderly is a drastic knee-jerk move? How easy would it be to trace the call and find the perpetrator? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, know what your rights are and fight for your rights. If you don't exercise your rights, you will lose them. I'll see you in the next video.